Welcome to the 24-day challenge beginner B program. I'm going to jump right into the objectives here. Thought is that you're probably wanting to perform these programs to complement your 24-day challenge nutritional program. And in doing so, you're probably looking to burn fat and build lean muscle. So understand this. To do just that, you got to get uncomfortable as you go to exercise. You got to push yourself, challenge yourself. Again, the thought is that to really get some work done in the gym, you got to do the opposite of what everybody else in the gym is doing. So again, we're not going to be on elliptical machines. We're not going to be on machines itself. We're going to be using free weights. And we're going to be recruiting a lot of muscle with multi-joint movements and staying away from single joint movements that don't really do much to benefit fat loss. To accomplish those objectives, we have to take an anaerobic approach in which we're going to spike your heart rate up, get it up, and let it calm down. In other words, we don't want the just steady state, normal breathing throughout the program. We want to really challenge ourselves with the tempo at which we're working through these exercises. So we're going to get our heart rate up. And to really employ a good anaerobic model, we're going to use resistance training. The benefit of resistance training is that it does create that anaerobic demand on the body, assuming that you're not on machines, that you're using free weights. But also, what it does is we're recruiting a lot of muscle with that anaerobic training, and that's what's going to encourage more fat burn, not only while you're working out, but in the 24 to 48 hours after you leave the gym if we do it right. And that's the plan here. As you look at your program here, this program is designed to be performed 3 days per week for 4 weeks. So you see there, as you look at your spreadsheet, you see 3 week 1 columns, 3 week 2s, 3 week 3s, and 3 week 4s. And so let's just say for general purposes here, that's a Monday, Wednesday, Friday setup. As you execute this program, you need a day of recovery in between. Now, that doesn't mean you can't do some other sort of activities or cardio in days in between. I'm just saying don't do this particular program back-to-back days. Let your body recover and regenerate, ready for that next workout session. Next, as you look at your spreadsheet here, you see that there's a changing rep count as you go across the spreadsheet there. You see times 10, times 12, times 8. Now, the idea here is that you'll be performing sets of 10 reps the first 2 times you work out, the first 2 days of week 1, and say it's Monday and Wednesday. You're trying to find a weight that's appropriate for 10 rep sets. What I mean there is that by the time you get to the 8, 9, 10th rep of a set, it's starting to challenge you. You're not falling apart in terms of your technique, but it is challenging you. By the 3rd session of week 1, you adjust up to 12 reps, which means you're likely going to drop your weight while you increase your reps. That would carry over to the 1st session of week 2. By the 2nd session of week 2, you can see you're going to adjust to 8 reps. And in doing so, you're more than likely adding weight to your exercises to account for the drop in reps. And in the 3rd and final session of week 2, you would also be doing 8 reps. So again, you can see you'll do a couple sessions at 10 reps, a couple sessions at 12 reps, a couple sessions at 8 reps, and then the cycle starts over again once again in week 3. So what we're doing here is we're continuing to stimulate the body through these 4 weeks. Even though we might be doing the same exercises, your body's getting a different stimulus by changing up the load and the rep count and the volume of work there. Next consideration, as you look at your card, you see 2 blocks of 3 exercises. They're separated by the bold black lines. You see the Pallof press, lat pull, and split squat in the first block of 3. You see the incline press, single arm row, and pull through in the second block of 3. And so what we're accomplishing here is there's a balance of movements within each of those blocks. In the top movement right there, you see 2 upper body movements and a lower body movement. In the upper body movements, you have a push and a pull. In the lower body movements, you have what we call a knee dominant push pattern, which is going to work more with the front side of the body. In the bottom block of 3 exercises, the incline press, single arm row, and pull through, again, you have an upper body push, an upper body pull, and at the bottom there, the cable pull through is what we call a hip dominant pulling pattern. And in doing so, you're training more the back side. So you can see we're training equally upper, lower, front, and back, so we create balance in the program. Now, as you look at the individual blocks of 3 exercises, you want to perform those 3 exercises in succession, back to back to back. So for maybe day 1, you go Pallof press, followed by lat pull, followed by split squat, all back to back to back, with very low rest in between. Again, to get your heart rate up, working harder than not staying comfortable. Now, if you were just doing 1 set, you would take break then and get ready for your second block of 3 exercises. Now, what the goal is to progressively add volume to your workouts from day 1 to 2 to 3 and so on and so forth. So maybe day 1 you just did 1 set of the press, the lat pull, and split squat. Maybe day 2 of week 1 you came back and you did the 3, and you thought, well, I'm going to add an extra set today. So I'm going to add I would hit those 3 in a row, then I'd come back for another extra set of the lat pull. So you do 4 sets that day. Maybe day 3, you're adding, now an additional set of the split squat. So maybe you go Pallof press, lat pull, split squat, back to the lat pull, back to the split squat. There's 5 sets in that one block. And that's how you gradually add volume as you move through the program. The goal eventually is you look at those 6 exercises that you would be doing, 12, upwards of 18 sets for a day's work in the gym as your conditioning improved as you went through that. So you're going to take that approach as you go through it. So again, as you work through those little blocks of 3 exercises, work through with a lot of tempo, and then between the 2 blocks of the exercise, that'd be a time to really rest and recover and calm down there. Now, very quickly, you see warm up and cool down. I'm not going to get too specific there. For the warm up, you want to do something just to get your heart rate up, your core temperature up, ready to go, ready for the exercise. Maybe it's body weight squats, maybe it's jump rope, maybe it's running in place, anything that kind of aggressively get your heart rate up and ready to go. At the cool down there at the end, it's maybe taking a 2-3 minute walk on the treadmill, just let your body calm down. Now, specifically about the exercises there, you'll see videos for each individual exercise, but let me give you a couple extra coaching points in each one. The cable tall kneeling Pallof press, the tall kneeling position, you have your hips tall, hips extended, and so in doing so, your glutes are turned on, your core is turned on. That's where you integrate a lot of core training there. Remember, your core training is used to stabilize your spine, not to move it. So we're preventing movement with that. Now, as you perform that Pallof press, they were doing day 1, 10 reps. You perform 10 reps with the cable on your right side, 10 reps with the cable on your left side. That'd be 1 set of that. The cable underhand lat pull, we're going to go with the underhand grip about shoulder width there. You're going to tilt just slightly your trunk, and you want to pull through the elbows and keep your shoulder blades back and down throughout the entire movement, especially when you're letting it up. You want to be aggressive coming down and controlled slow going back up for whatever the rep count may be. Dumbbell goblet split squat. For that one right there, you'd perform 10 reps with your left leg forward, 10 reps with your right leg forward for 1 set. Be very conscious of your posture. You want to keep your trunk perpendicular with the ground. You want to get to the bottom of that movement with 90 degrees at both knees. That'd be a good clean pattern, meaning that you're moving well through your hips. Consciously, you want to lift the toes on the front foot so you can stay through the back side, the heel of the front foot, so you can push through the heel and get your hips extended at the top by getting extra glute recruitment there. Your backside hip, if your left leg was forward, your right hip would be the one that stays extended. You want to keep your glute tight there to keep that hip extended throughout the entire movement. And again, stand tall at the top of the movement. For the dumbbell single arm incline press, for that one right there, you want to set that incline at about 45 degrees. You want to keep your feet flat on the ground, set your shoulder blades down and back. And by doing the single arm hold, you're forcing your core to stabilize yourself more there because you're offset there as you perform the movement. Watch how I perform the movement with the dumbbell there with regard to my hand position for the best shoulder mechanics there. A set of 10 would be 10 on the right, 10 on the left for 1 set of 10. Dumbbell single arm row, notice the flat back position you're going to take. You're going to pull through the elbow much like you would on the lat pull. You want to keep the shoulder blade back set just like you would on the lat pull as well, pulling through the elbow and letting the dumbbell back down very slow there. 10 reps on both arms for 1 set of 10. Cable pull through there, that is what we call the hip dominant pulling pattern. You really want to make sure that most of the movement is going through your hips. There's not much knee bend there, you'll notice. That's the hips flexing back, and I'm going to pull through the movement, staying hard through my heels there, and that's what's going to get that extra glute recruitment as you finish the top of the movement. Make sure you're not simply just bending over. It's your hips flexing back and pulling through the movement to complete that exercise.